So with Iran being tightened up and the conflict over, the deal being worked out right now, and already we're seeing the benefits, oil going down. But I've always maintained and talked about here that the Iran situation, the reason we went in, it had a whole lot more to do than just going after nukes. And we're learning that more and more as things play out. And I got to tell you that I don't have any concerns about this, because the MOU, what everybody freaks out about, they always leave out the factor that we still hold all the leverage and all the might. We have all the strength. We can always go back in and bomb if we need to. And as Bobby Levy woke up this morning, this guy again is White House Deputy War Room Director, so he's in it. Says, woke up to some amazing news. It appears patriots are still in control. Absolutely. Trump gave us this today. Iran has informed the U.S. that despite troublemaking fake news reporting to the contrary, there's no tolls, no insurance costs, no other charges of any kind being sought or received by Iran on ships traveling the Strait of Hormuz. If this is false, negotiations would end immediately. Additionally, no money has been given to Iran or released from their money to them by the U.S. We'll be releasing some of their money, totally controlled by us, to our farmers and ranchers for purchase of corn, wheat, soybeans, and more. Food is desperately needed in Iran. We'll be purchasing it for them exclusively from the U.S. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is a big deal because this contradicts much of the reporting coming out, and it continues to show that there was more to the Iran situation that was let on. And there's more going on behind the scenes than any neocon wants you to know, any critic wants you to know, any faggot podcastistani wants you to know. They are all trying to bug out about this. How can we attack Trump over this? But the problem is that the longer we're away from the MOU, which now it's been 10 days, and the longer Iran is stabilized and oil keeps going down, the more it becomes apparent Trump's actually telling us the truth. And the more it becomes apparent that majorly good things came out of this. Now, Batya, who I usually love, has hated this deal because she's Jewish and she is really on the Israel side of things in this, which is a knock to her in the way she's approached it, at least. Not saying you're not allowed to disagree, but I am saying that I don't like for somebody who's so pro-Trump to not give him any benefit of the doubt in this. But Bill O'Reilly set her straight right here.
But I'm more confident tonight than I have been, because the window is so tight on these mullahs now. They either are going to let the inspectors in, or they're going to get blown to hell. Trump would use another profanity, but he'll do it.
I hope you're right, because he's promised to do it many times and
do it.
hasn't followed through.
I
Bill
know
O'Reilly.
that.
God bless you. And
See, I completely disagree with that. Trump's bombed them 3 times already. I don't know what she wants. I don't know what any of these people want other than total annihilation, which is just not Trump's forte. He's not going to do that. He doesn't want to hurt the people. But in all of this, Trump has accomplished something massive, and it has to do with our economy and the restructuring of the globalist world order that they were trying to control us with, that killed our middle class, that got us stuck in overpaying for NATO, basically being the EU's military, got us stuck in bad trade deals so they could just keep taking advantage of us. All of that is ending. And Iran was a big factor in that. And Secretary Bessent is now preaching about all this and like how strong our economy is becoming as we're becoming more sovereign. And he had some really interesting things to say here. We've rediscovered a great cost, what America's first Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton taught us. This is interesting. Hamilton was under a lot of scrutiny for a long time, especially from Austrian economists, especially from libertarian types. But if you watch Promethean Action and people like myself who believe that we are going back to a system of economy that's more like the 1800s system that helped us flourish for our first 120 years, that was very different in many ways from what we're experiencing now. Trump's trying to get us back to that. And Bessent's telling us that that's exactly what they're doing. Get back to the Hamiltonian system. He says the nation that depends on its adversaries for critical inputs is neither truly sovereign nor truly prosperous. This is what the Iran war helped accomplish in many ways. It broke tentacles of City of London from the proxy status of the Middle East, especially with Iran. So hit them back. It exposed NATO. And with all this happening at once, it exposed China for being much weaker, and that they didn't jump in. Their military is weaker. Their economy is weaker than we were told. This is allowing Trump to act as the boss as America gets more and more sovereign and takes our rightful place again. As it exposes all the lies we've been told, the American people are going to demand we use our might, not to hurt people, but to be strong. And this is what Besant's trying to get us back to, and this is the road to us getting more prosperous. So the Iran war was also had a lot to do with us economically. But here's Besant talking about this.
Economic security begins with national capacity. We have rediscovered at great cost what Alexander Hamilton taught us around the time of our founding, that every nation ought to endeavor to possess within itself all the essentials of national supply. That our strength, in other words, is derived from what we can build, for the nation that cannot produce what it needs is not truly secure. The nation that depends on its adversaries for critical inputs is not truly sovereign, and the nation that reduces its economics to consumption is not truly prosperous.
Wow, that is a powerful little 40 seconds there. The nation that can't build for itself, the nation that's just a consumer nation, is not prosperous, nor sovereign, nor powerful. That is a powerful statement, and it's exactly what the Trump administration is working on undoing, getting us back to a country that makes things. But see, the globalist system is all about consumption all the time. When you need something, then, and when you're starting to run out of something, you go and just take over another country, or you take advantage of another country. You take advantage of their slave labor, of their resources. This is what the British Empire would do. This is the City of London system that we've been under, that has been taking advantage of us. And this is what we're breaking free of. And this is a great example of it, and why, in their minds, why the Iran conflict was so important, because it's by stabilizing the Middle East, by making Iran sovereign, or at least hoping it gets there, you're also forcing China out. So China has to go back to get their grips out of stuff. It puts them in their rightful place, but it's leaving that massive City of London globalist system without the funding they had. We're pulling out of NATO, so they're losing their ability to take advantage of us for the military. So they have to start funding that on their own again. And their system starts falling apart as a result of this, which means the people at some point in their misery will eventually rise up and declare sovereignty again, take back their countries. We don't know how far they're going to have to go over there. They're much more in a deep, dark place than we ever got to. So who knows how long it'll take them. But at some point, you keep putting that pressure on, the people will get fed up. The people were lulled into sleep during these good times, where they were able to take advantage of us, their leaders, their system was able to take advantage of us for all these years, take advantage of the Middle East for all these years, and stay relatively wealthy as a result. This also has to do with India. But again, Iran was the key to breaking a lot of this open. And Besant just continues to tell us about what's recurring now as a result. Here's him talking about our dollar.
Again, you can have a strong dollar when rates are being cut because the U.S. economy is accelerating. You can have a strong dollar because the interest rate differential is high. But mostly, I think we're going to have a strong dollar because our economy is pulling away from the rest of the world.
Do you hear that? That's key right there. Our economy is pulling away from the rest of the world. This is part of what the Iran conflict allowed to happen. This is the Trump administration creating the New World Order. I know people don't like when I say the New World Order, because in their minds, New World Order means globalist system. It means the one world government. That's not what I mean. The New World Order is different from the Old World Order. And the Old World Order we were in was the globalist system. We were controlled by it. Our politicians were owned by it. They were knocking away our sovereignty little by little every year. And we are now becoming sovereign again. And this is how the New World Order looks like. And I mean that in a very positive way.
Look at the way our economy has performed during the Iranian conflict. The rest of the world has gone negative to zero, plus or minus the point something percent. And the U.S. economy, that because we went into this on very strong energy footing, that on very strong CapEx cycle from both the AI.
Very important right there, the energy. You see that the energy, that's something else that would not have happened without Iran. If we had not gone into Iran, the world wouldn't have started becoming as dependent on us for energy, as our oil, our natural gas. They woke up to that. It forced us to produce more. And Trump used that to blow up America as the greatest energy producer in the world. It changed, it destroyed OPEC. UAE left OPEC, and now OPEC is flailing. It's not what it was. All these other countries started going around the Strait of Hormuz, using their pipelines to get oil out, recovering a vast majority of the oil that was going through the strait. See, Trump redirected the whole thing by Iran. That's why this was so important. Yes, the nuke part was important too. I believe actually Trump means that. But it was also an excuse to get all this other stuff done. And it's completely unearthing our economy as a result. And energy is a big part of it.
And the tax bill, the U.S. economy has really performed. And we're going to get to the other side of this conflict. As you were just showing, energy prices are coming down. Inflation's going to drop. And the economy, I think, is going to be accelerating on a non-inflationary basis for the rest of the year and for the rest of the president. Again, you
rest of the year and rest of the president's term is what he's saying. And it's only going to get better from here. You guys understand what's happened? We have completely changed our economy. Trump's reshaped our entire economy in just over a year. It's unbelievable. See, when Reagan came in and gave us a big shift, he did it through tax cuts and deregulation. He did not get the tariff deals. He did not get new trade deals. And he also didn't unleash our energy. So that's why what I say when Trump, he's done what Reagan's done, but on steroids. And we all saw what happened with Reagan's economy. If you were in the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, you know that economy was awesome. It was probably the last time we had a truly awesome economy. And it was temporary because we were still on their system. And he could only do so much. Trump is not only doing everything Reagan did, he's also completely breaking that system so we have a new economy in every way, shape, or form. And that is going back to the 1800s, when we, for 120 years, went from a fledgling nation of people who barely could get along to the most powerful, richest nation in world history in just 100 plus years. Because our system was that good before the Federal Reserve, before the income tax, before 1913. That's what we're going back to. And guys, this is one of the reasons they're freaking out about it. Because it's not just the fact that they could control our military, they could control our political system. They had so many things they could use us for. But it was also the fact that our economy was powering the entire globalist economy. And that doesn't mean every country, because not every country was a part of it or benefiting from it. It does mean the EU, all those globalists. It means Canada, it means Mexico, all taking advantage of us for a very long time. Everybody who's tied into that. And we're breaking that. We don't even know. We don't even know what it's like to live in a prosperous American economy. We don't. Nobody, unless you're 115 years old and can remember when you were 2 years old, you don't remember. None of us have lived in an American system without this Federal Reserve Keynesian economics. None of us. What we're going to go back to is something most of us can't even imagine because we've never seen it before. And yeah, it takes time because this is major changes. But we're starting to see the flickers of it. It's incredible. And it's only going to accelerate massively over the next couple of years. And then, folks, then we get to live in a completely new place. Also, here's the other thing. What Trump's doing, it's going to be very, very difficult to undo, which is why I'm so positive about the future. Because I recognize that if they want to get back to where they were, it's going to take them a generation or more. That's how much Trump's undoing. That's what a big deal is. That's why they all hated Iran war. That's why NATO didn't join us. England didn't join us when they would join us in all these other wars for 100 years. That's why Iran was the one they all put their foot down, because they all know that it was a major part of ending this system that we're about to see massive gains from.
It's exactly what President Trump is implementing in this historic second term. And as we have the 250th this year, it's a good idea to reflect. And President Trump has reawakened and made us all aware, and our allies and our enemies, that the U.S. has both military might, but we have economic might. And for a long time, our economic might was not only was it challenged, it was taken for granted. And it was abused.
Hear what he just said? For so long, our economic might was taken for granted and abused. That's a big statement, and everybody paying attention knows what he means.
And now we are saying that for our allies, come along with us. Here are the rules of the road. We want reciprocity and engaging and saying, like, it is a new system, but...
You hear that? New system. They're not just saying this stuff on accident. They're not just saying like, oh yeah, we're working with them to just boost, to stimulate our economy. They're using very different words than we've ever heard before. New system, he just said.
Old values, I think is perfectly appropriate. And President Trump has set the stage for this. When we look at what happened in Iran, you think about it, we had maximum pressure, then we had epic fury, then we had economic fury, and then we had the blockade. And that's how we got the Iranians to the negotiating table.
Everything is about economics. And that's what Trump and Bessent understand more than anybody ever has. We're not just a military nation. That's not our might. Our might is our economy. That's why Trump is always about these deals, economics, because that's the real leverage. We were never told this before. The globalists understood this. That's why City of London, maybe one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful system in the world, this whole deep state creation, or that created the deep state, I should say. That's why they were so powerful. They understood finances, economics. That's real power. And the Trump and Bessent team are the first ones in our history, at least our modern history, that understand that. And they are fighting back with the same thing. Guys, we are about to see something we've never seen before, this new system. Think about what Trump's accomplished in just 15 months. Our taxes right now, believe it or not, our income tax and all that is the lowest it's been of the modern era. If you go back, it's lower than it's been since income tax was instituted 1913. You might be able to find a couple years here and there where they messed around with it, but I mean, these are permanent now. This is locked in. The deregulations, we've never seen a team deregulating as quickly as they are. The energy production has never been seen in our history, not even in the 1800s. We've never been the leader of the world in energy, and now we are. This all adds up to massive wealth, and it's only a matter of time till that trickles down to the people. And we're already seeing it in the companies. The companies know what's coming. They are investing. The manufacturing is jumping up. Where price of goods is starting to go down. Now with oil going down, food will go down. Other prices will go down. Because in a real economy, guess what? They've taught us all that deflation is bad. It's not. It's only bad in assets like gold or property, but it's not bad on regular goods and prices. You understand? And for the first 120 years of our country, deflation was the norm. Food kept going down. Goods kept going down. Energy kept going down. That's the norm. That's a healthy, innovative system. And that's what we're about to head back to. This whole lie that inflation is normal, that we need 2% inflation, that's Keynesian economics. That's government stimulation economics. That's what Trump's getting us away from. And one of the reasons he's not worried about our debt right now or spending too much is for a few reasons. A, he believes he can clean up most of it because a lot of it's fraud. B, he knows we have the assets to more than make up for our deficits. So we're actually still in a good place. And the third thing is he believes we can grow out of it. And if we don't, that system just crumbles. We don't care about that system anyways, because we will be a system of making stuff, of production. And I'm sorry, but you can't undo that. If you have everything built here, if you have all the assets here, yeah, there might be a couple tough years where people are struggling to get back on track. But when you can build stuff, you can always get out of it. But when you're a consumer economy and money dries up, yeah, then you're in big trouble. How did Germany get out of the Great Depression of the Weimar Republic with massive inflation, where they'd pay thousands of dollars for a loaf of bread after the Treaty of Versailles, when they were punished so harshly for World War I? How did they get out of it? Hitler came in and created a massive industrial base. That's exactly what he did. Not a fan of Hitler, obviously. But the point is that once they created that industrial base, they didn't need anybody anymore. They built their way out of it. And that's the system Trump wants to implement here, because then recessions, depressions, all that, they don't last very long. You climb right back out of them. They're very temporary. And because once you can build, you always can grow, and things will always get better. That's what we're getting back to. Also, sovereign, not depend on others. We're heading to a whole new world, guys. And again, I say this all the time because I get a lot of people who are either scared or just dooming because they don't want to believe. But I'm telling you, what Trump has started, it's going to be very, very difficult to undo. Even if we lose an election, he's being so fundamental in his changes. That's why they hate him so much. Because if they thought they could weather the storm for a few years, it wouldn't be as bad, because they're hurting their future as well. The fact that they're allowing themselves to come out now as communists, you see Democrats panicking over that. They're getting more and more radical, risking their own future because they're desperate that they have no other choice. And all that is good signs. Like Basent said, a new system is here, and that new system is going to be very, very exciting. We've never been here before. I'm very excited.